Emphasize something again. Actually, where silver's going to get legs mainly is geopolitical tensions. That's really what's going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be with Iran, if it's going to be something with Russia trying to break up the Ukraine. You know, that's their goal and all that type of stuff. But it's going to be geopolitical tensions. Actually, if you look in the commodities world, Jim Rogers has turned out to be absolutely right, and not so much due to a currency crisis yet. It will happen. But it's due to actually the weather. The weather. What's been going up in 2014 more than anything has been livestock and agricultural commodities. They've been skyrocketing. I just looked at their latest figures from the Commodities Research Bureau, and you know they're still ticking up quite a bit. They've been going up quite a bit. Now that's not due to a currency crisis or something, the dollar being devalued. That's actually due to record-breaking droughts in California, problems with all kinds of weather-related problems throughout the world, and it's affecting the food supply. Not good, not good. Now, actually, I want to point out something else that it's not a well-known. Maybe it is quite a bit. I think it has over 400,000 hits on YouTube. It's a couple Russian ambassadors talking to each other about basically various subjects going on in the world that they'll basically take over a lot of different areas in the world. It's like one ambassador to one country and one ambassador to another country, but they're both from Russia. And they're speaking in Russian, of course. And there's a translation. I'm going to put this on there. You can actually look at it. Actually, where it gets really juicy, where it starts talking about in taking over land in the United States, is from about 3 minutes or something on. And so if you want to look at that, that might be something. And I have to point this out because if the major media really wanted to drum up anti-Russian sentiment, or you know that Vladimir Putin's the real bad guy, they can really, really do it very, very easily. This is actually one video that's out there. It's a one video channel. Okay, that's what he has, one video out there, and but basically they're talking about it was a couple of Russian ambassadors. They had a conversation between each other, and my point about this is something else though. But they had a conversation between each other that they would take over California, Miami, Alaska, and all that type of stuff, besides other countries in Europe. Okay, so what I have to say is what I have to say is that this is something that's basically being hidden from the public, and the goal of the elite in the United States is to work with Russia. But somebody like Vladimir Putin actually has an attitude that well, I guess this is really what it is. If the United States does good, it's bad for Russia. In other words, there's no such thing as the United States, Russia, and Europe, and Africa, and South America, and Japan, and Saudi Arabia, or whatever. I'm just trying to name a bunch of countries, all doing good together. No, no, no. It's got to be whatever's, if something's going good for the United States, that means it's bad for Russia. That's pretty much a Vladimir Putin attitude. Unfortunately, a lot of people get behind this guy because he plays the macho card to the max, basically, and bigger is better. I'm tougher than the other guy. He even does this with his dog. He has like a dog. He says bigger, better, faster, and all this kind of crap. He probably hates cats. Who gives a shit? But you know what? A cat would be a better leader than Vladimir Putin of Russia. Because any animal is probably going to be less greedy than that guy by a gazillion miles, I'd say. But the thing is, with Russia, they're working together. So I don't, in other words, Western elite are attempting to work with the Russians all the time to bring about a new world order. But the Russian elite got their own plans on as to how they want to have it. That's one of the games that's going on. So I'm not going to whitewash what goes on in the world, and say what, the major media says, because I know there's major problems going on in the United States from a number of angles. And, but at the same time, 99% of these people in the alternative media, they're basically, they're just people that are against the West and 100% pro-Vladimir Putin. And I'll tell you the truth, if I had to make a choice, I say neither. I don't want either the Western elite or Vladimir Putin. But if I had to take a choice, and I had to make a choice between the two, it would be the Western elite over the freaking Vladimir Putin, because this guy is actually that corrupt. He is that corrupt, and he's that much of an egomaniac. You know. So, but what I'm saying here is that geopolitical tensions are really what's going to drive up silver more than anything. We have not seen any currency crisis. This stuff where we're seeing the what do you call it? The livestock and the agricultural products skyrocket early in this year is not due to the devaluation in the currency or anything like that. The dollar is still remaining strong. It's really what's going on is there's problems in the industry itself due to weather and droughts. But like I said, what is coming around the corner is this outstanding, insurmountable debt that's constantly being added to the equation. And at one point in time, it's going to break very, very unexpectedly. So that is really why you have silver, because when it goes up, it's not going to go up like this. You know, it's going to go up like a rocket. And so is everything else. But if people recognize that silver becomes a safety, it's going to go up exponentially faster than everything else around it, at least for a period of time, till it gets way too far ahead of itself. So keep on hanging on with that investment. But I have to state this: geopolitical tensions is the key to really bringing up silver, unfortunately. Not just the currency crisis, not just the debt. And geopolitical tensions look like they're very alive and well. I just want to point out this video that it's maybe not that well known to a lot of people. It's interesting if you look at it from 3 minutes. And actually, if you look at a few years ago, Vladimir Zhirinovsky, head of the Durma, his party in the Durma, he actually made boasts that the tsunami in Japan was caused by a Russian secret weapon, and that they would do this to the Western countries. And also, just recently, the head of the news agency out of the Kremlin, who was handpicked by Vladimir Putin, this was just in the last few weeks, was talking about turning the United States into radioactive dust. So, the major media doesn't, kind of like they report these stories, but they don't emphasize them too much. Because the policy in the elite is they're going to try to work together with these guys. And I'm thinking, the elite in this country, I don't know what the hell their game plan is. I wouldn't work together with these guys for nothing. I'd be like saying to myself, forget it, They're not good for business even for the elite. They're not even good for business for the elite. What they're out for is destruction and domination. And it's just the way it's been. It's just how it's been. There's a dictator in Russia, and unfortunately a lot of people in the West think this guy's a great guy, and he's not. Also, I should point out, Vladimir Putin just got his divorce recently, and actually this is more of a Vladimir Putin silver update, but he actually got it finalized recently. And, you talk about, freedom of the press in the United States not being good, and sometimes, because of, you got the major media is so big and all this type of stuff. But, the absolute truth is that there was somebody in one of the news outlets out there published a rumor a couple years ago that, before Vladimir Putin got his divorce, that he was actually dating one of the Olympic athletes or something, a gymnast or something. And, that news station is totally done. They're done. They went under. So they rule with an iron fist still from the Kremlin. It's just that it's got a capitalistic flavor on the outside. Actually, I don't know if it's Russia Today or the affiliated network or something that owns Russia Today. The guy that's in charge of that just recently got charged with tax evasion by the Russian authorities. And I started thinking to myself, nobody gets charged with tax evasion from them unless they pissed off Vladimir Putin. And I'm beginning to wonder if it has something to do with the Liz Wall quitting on Russia Today, and that other one talking about, I think it was Abby Martin talking about she disapproved of the Crimea, invasion. invasion, like there was some dissent going on in Russia today, and it got leaked out, and it became a major propaganda tool against Vladimir Putin. So I wonder if this guy actually is getting investigated for not tax evasion, but because he's not carrying the ball as good as Vladimir Putin wants him to. So, I want to point out that link again with, it's two Russian ambassadors talking amongst each other. Yeah, you could say they're joking or whatever the hell it is. But my point is, the major media, if they wanted to, they could broadcast this all over the place. And then all of a sudden turn this giant anti-Russian hysteria on in the American public if they wanted to. But they don't want to. They don't want to. They want everything to meld together into one world order. That's the game. And actually, I think this is a very dangerous game by the Western elite because they don't know what they're dealing with. These guys don't want to be under any kind of Western control, whether it's a joint control or nothing. They want to stay Russian, and that's it. They want Russia to be number one. And these two ambassadors were talking to each other about invading Miami. There was more Russians in Miami anyway. That it would be easy to do. There was talking about taking back Alaska, talking about taking back taking California, and amongst other Western European nations. So basically hidden out of the mainstream media, but I just want to bring it out. You can look at that link. I'll put it down there in the information box. But the other factor that's really going to drive up silver is geopolitical tensions. You see stuff bubbling below the surface, and silver's not doing too bad. I mean, I think it should be way the hell over $35 or $40, but at $20, it does not seem like it's going down to some of these astronomical lows that some people keep predicting every time it drops a little bit, because it's kind of sitting flat like this, like waves. But like I said, when the prices does hit, it's not going to be where it's going to hit and silver's going to go like this. It may go like that a little bit in the beginning, and then it's going to take off like a rocket ship. And it's going to get so far ahead of itself, people are going to say it's going to be too damn high. They're going to be getting scared that it's too damn high, and it's going to probably go even higher. And like I said, it's not just going to be a currency crisis. It's going to be geopolitical tensions. And it looks like we got a hell of a lot of them coming up right around the corner. So just remember, though, to stockpile not just silver, but food, protein, whatever protein products out there, any kind of, maybe, you can't stockpile, the livestock meats or whatever it is, but any type of proteins that you have out there, because we're probably going through much tougher times here pretty soon in the future than expected. This rising food prices is actually going to take away a lot of income from the net disposable income of people that are spending in the economy, and it's going to bring the retail sales down even further, which have already looked bad as of the end of December. So rising food prices are actually, and livestock prices are going to affect the entire economy. And if you look at construction is not doing that good, except for like sales to, Chinese buyers in California. They're doing pretty good. I think Lennar and stuff like that, and they're doing pretty damn good. They're having a recovery for selling to Chinese buyers in California. But as far as middle class America, it's still putting the squeeze on all the way. And so, like, what I have to state here is, do not relinquish your silver investment yet. I think it has to get. I'm not going to touch even selling any kind of physical silver until it gets to record heights. And that's when it starts getting more dangerous. When it's well over 50, that's when it's actually going to be dangerous. But when it does rocket up, it's going to rocket up. It's not going to be something where it's going to go like a slow, steady creep, and then all of a sudden it's going to basically not do a damn thing. And this is just typical if you look back with silver. Even in 1979, when it went up a lot in the year, it had a little retracement, Then it skyrocketed several fold inside of a couple months. Also, I just want to remind people as a final note, do not ignore palladium. I've been harping on that since day one. I got some. I mean, I'm not going to put out separate palladium videos because nobody's really interested in it. But I've been saying this for freaking years about palladium, and it's just not the popular thing to do. You know, I know I put about as much in palladium dollar-wise as I did silver. And the silver I bought was way below the current prices I had paid that they're going for right now. But the palladium prices are several times lower that I paid. So, people, people ignored this metal and they poo-pooed it all the way back from 2 or 3 years ago. And from looking at the angles that Russia's trying to play with the West, I think palladium is going to go a hell of a lot higher. Because that's one thing they can restrict. If they could play games with and probably raise the price of it a hell of a lot more. They think they can. Because they got a stranglehold pretty much on most of the world's supply. Where it comes from. 43% of it comes from Russia, the world's palladium. 39% of the world's, practically all of that 43%, I think it's like 90% of it almost, comes from one mine, Norilsk mine, up in northern Siberia in Russia, which is mainly a nickel producer. But I think palladium is going to go more than gold at one point in time. So if you think gold is going to go up, I don't know why the hell people aren't investing in palladium, but do what you want.